Hi, so in this demo, I wanted to show the use of boundary events and the ability to trigger a backend service and um, from one coach view and update data in another coach view. So a very simple example here. So let's say you had a drop-down box where you were selecting from a list of customers, and you had a second coach view where you were displaying details of those customers. So for example, this is the first coach view, which is just a drop-down box, and that shows my list of customers. And if I were to, and as I select from this list, this second coach view here gets updated with the customer details. So the concept here is to be able to react to changes in data in one coach view and then update the second coach view. And in this case, with a boundary event, we can move it back to the server side, call a server side service, and get the data that will be used to refresh this coach view. So a quick look at how this is accomplished. So essentially, we have two coach views. This is the first coach view, which is the customer lookup coach view that has been configured to fire a boundary event, while this is the second coach view, which just displays the customer details. And that's bound to a customer info object. So let's take a look at this customer lookup coach view. So in here, the important thing, so now this, of course, given that it's a select box, the variable that's bound to it is a list, which means it's a complex variable. And what that means is to be able to react to changes in this data, specifically in the list selected portion of the data. You can't just put some code in the change event of the coach view, because that's almost of no use. The change event of a coach view, it does not get invoked for changes within a complex object. It will react only if the reference to that complex object was changed. So the way to do this is to bind to the actual data and the part of the data that we want changed. So in this case, customer name list is the complex data object that is bound to the coach view, and this is how you get access to that complex object. Once you have that, you have to use the bind method to bind to the appropriate property that you want to react to when it's changed. So in this case, the callback method that is called is called value changed, and all this method is doing is invoking the trigger method, which is going to invoke the boundary event. So in this case, you bind to the list selected index property of the customer name list complex object, and you attach this callback method value changed as the callback method whenever the list selected index of the customer name list object is changed. And what the value changed method does is just called this.context.trigger. And along with this, one other piece of configuration is you have to select that it can fire a boundary event. So once you do that, select this and then use this.context.trigger, you can programmatically fire a boundary event at any time, which will cause the flow to come back to the server side. Unload here is just to clear any resources. The other thing to note is just the way this uh, coach is designed, you can see that it has two coach views in it. And remember, the first coach view can fire a boundary event, which is wired to a service that actually returns, um, that gets the customer name that was selected and returns the customer info, which is then displayed in the second coach view. So once again, this is the coach view that fires the boundary event, and this is a coach view that displays data based on a backend service that returns the data that's bound to that second coach view. So I hope that was clear, and showing the behavior once again. This is your first coach view, and as you select, the data changes. So I'm selecting my customer here in the first coach view, and that's causing boundary event to be fired. I go get the customer details, and then I display it here in my second coach view. Thank you.